Hello, my universal friends. The power of journaling. Recently, there were some papers published about the theory of consciousness and the theory of evolution of consciousness, which were written by both biophysicist William Brown and Nassim Haramein, in which they talk about how consciousness and the evolution of consciousness arises from the back and forth interaction between us and the universe, between us and the environment, between us and the unified field, life, whatever you want to call it. And this back and forth interaction takes the form of us inputting information, which is in the form of how we react to our present circumstance and events, and the back output from the universe, from the environment, from the unified field, from life, back to us in the form of events and circumstances. And so we see that all the circumstances, all the events with which we are faced with and in which we are in are the perfect events and perfect circumstances which we need to learn from, grow from, and surpass, and see through, and pull through in, to grow and to evolve and to experience new circumstances and new events and to evolve as conscious beings. And this is why we see that the single-celled organisms back in the day had to adapt and learn from the circumstances that they were faced with, which were harsh circumstances, and they needed to learn and to grow and to evolve into multi-celled organisms. And those were faced with also tough, difficult environments and circumstances which were fed to them for the best, for their best interests, so that they could grow and evolve into beings who could think, who could imagine, who could eventually create and build great things. And this is why no matter how we respond to our environment, we will continue to be faced with situations and events and circumstances fed back to us which test us and which may be difficult. However, this is why, instead of reacting to these difficult situations with negative input, which may snowball into negative output, negative input, and grow in intensity, instead of that, this is why we must, for the good of all, and for the good of ourselves, and for our growth and learning, we must react in such a way that is aligned with harmonious intention based on love and truth. And this will continue to allow us to grow and to learn from experience and circumstance, so that, as Einstein put it, we're not doing the same thing over and over, caught in a loop, expecting different results, because inputting the same thing into the environment, we're going to get the same thing back and not be able to grow. And here is where I'd like to add that journaling comes in. What is journaling? Journaling is the consistent writing down, manifestation of our thoughts, of our inner feelings, and of our records of the events and circumstances which we have been faced with, which we have been learning from, and the lessons we have learned, and the input, the ways in which we decided to respond to the environment. This is what journaling ultimately is. And so we quickly see that journaling is one of the greatest tools we can use to really empower us to make the choices that are most aligned with our growth and with our learning and with our continuous evolution as conscious beings, so as to learn from experience and not have to repeat the same experience over and over and over. But with journaling, we have the opportunity to learn once, or maybe fail once, but then we learn from that, and then we don't have to repeat it again. Why? Because we wrote it down. And remembering is the key. Remember, let's always remember where we've been and who we are, and keep journaling, my friends.